Hello and welcome along to Tippcast today with myself, Shane Stapleton, joined as ever by Nina Guardian, Head of Sport, Shane Brophy. Shane, how are things with you?
Good now, Shane. Good. But things are cranking up nicely. You can sort of feel it now into the knockout stages of everything. It's getting serious. I think I don't know. I know you're living in Dublin. I found this championship a bit of a slow burner, but it's beginning to move now.
Yeah, there's very few big guns that had been knocked out up until the last couple of weeks. You know, the last group stages, maybe one or two fell. But then to see the two townie teams, Nina and Thurles, get knocked out last weekend, and with the prospect of more teams getting knocked out, obviously the quarterfinals are coming up in a couple of weeks' time. The football quarterfinals in Tip are on this weekend as well. Like it's all on the line from here.
Yeah. I know. I do wonder. I do wonder, has the shadow of, I think, the Dylan Quirk tragedy, I just think, has taken the edge off some of it over the last few weeks. And I suppose as we go along, maybe clubs will start. I suppose when you get to the quarter-final stage, you know, like, and I was even remarking myself last night, as I could say, most viewers know I'm involved with Dora. There's always something nice about maybe finishing a training session under lights in September, because if you're doing that, you know, you're in the business end of a championship. It's you feel that all your work throughout the year is it's built. You're looking forward to those nights where maybe you have to start training a bit earlier and maybe finishing under lights, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Conor Bowe was talking this week. He was in the Examiner and he was talking about the gap to Limerick. And he said, there's no doubt we have the hurling ability to match them, the skill work and all that. It's now about being able to rival them with our strength, with our running. Now is the time to make up that ground. So it's full steam ahead for the S&C stuff this winter. Now, I don't know, like, would the players have met up with Liam Cahill? Would they have had sort of a briefing in terms of what they're going to try and do over the next few months? Or is this just Conor looking at it and thinking, you know, I can just see this myself. I don't need anyone to explain it to me, that's where we're lacking at the moment.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a very, very insightful interview. And I suppose for the likes of Conor Bowe, who I suppose, look, what's he heading for, 23, 24 now? Like, you think, like, it's time to, I suppose, to make a move. And I suppose the fact that his club commitments are, I think they're more or less finished this year in hurling and football. I suppose he can get a head start on some other players. And I would assume maybe probably after the quarter-final weekend, where you'll have probably a fair chunk of clubs will be finished at Liam Cahill. You would think probably, he won't be able to get collective training going until probably early December, but he will maybe be talking privately maybe to some players that he knows he's bringing in to say, okay, you need to get a head start in on this, maybe come in and meet the S&C guy to get an individual program going. But it's like, but there's no doubt Tip have to get started earlier than the likes of Limerick, because they're playing catch up. Like there needs to be something going on, and I suppose, and particularly the guys that have been drafted in from the outside, that need to be told, I suppose, that okay, your club season is over, but for you maybe to be playing championship hurling next April or May, you've nearly got to be starting now in terms of your S&C and getting yourself ready.
Yeah, and even just talking a bit more about his conversation this week and the goals that Conor has. There's an element of repetition here, but he just said getting up to the physical levels that are demanded. Grand, I had a bit of success at underage level, but I don't think I've pushed on physically, getting the correct muscle around my body, gained the correct conditioning to run for 70 plus minutes with the most conditioned fellas in the country. I've no problem saying I haven't got to that level yet. I'd like to see how I can get there during the winter. It's the most obvious area for improvement. Lads are always looking to be fitter, faster, stronger, and it's certainly the focus for me in the coming months. In some ways, you know, you'd wonder why. I mean, he's had a year with the senior hurlers. He's had a year with the senior footballers before that. It's almost like, you know, were Tipperary doing the wrong things over the last number of years? And are they just looking at the athletic profile of these Limerick players and saying, ours looks a little bit different. We need to get that little bit leaner, that, moving across the ground that bit quicker. But like 65 minutes, Tipperary fell away against Limerick this year. So that was the evidence.
Maybe think there's a realization suddenly, okay, why we think we might have been doing enough, obviously, to the level of what Limerick have done. We haven't, and we've got to commit more. And we actually remarked it before we came on to see the Jake Morris, the level he's got to, like his condition, and he is absolutely he's nearly twice the size he was 2 or 3 years ago. He looks like a guy that's ready to go, and you see it in his play, like at the moment for a club level, and like I think he got a score against Brackens on Sunday where he more or less mullocked a Brackens guy out of the way on the sideline, fired him over the sideline, brushed him off, turned back outside, and stuck it over the bar. And you think, God, if he's taken his club form to another level this year, what'll be like if he does that at inter-county level? If he finds another level there.
Before we go on to talk specifically about the matches that happened at the weekend, who are the players that have caught your eye that have now got out of the championship? I know we'll talk about the likes of Andrew Orman and so on, but lads that have gone out of the championship, is there anyone that you think, right, that person has really laid down a claim?
There isn't actually an awful lot of clubs gone. Like, it's just like you still have some in relegation. Like, if you're going Sarsfields,
David Corbett's had a pretty good championship.
David Corbett is the one. He's the name that keeps anybody talking to Thurles. He's the very, very consistent guy. So, has Stephen Cahill's time come and gone? It probably has. Like Dara Stapleton was a very understated underage player, but there's a good player there. I think if he got a bit of conditioning, I think he'll be there. Like Connor Stapleton's already been there. Nina. I don't think there's anybody in outside of Jake Morris. Who else? Holy Cross, you'll have Brian O'Mara, but Darragh Woods had a good campaign with them there this year. Probably, I'd like to see us look at maybe more lower center of gravity type of hurlers. The Darragh Woods is the Sean Ryans. I know he's technically in relegation. Like,
Not sure if Shane has just dropped there for a second, but I'll just go through the results from the weekend, and hopefully Shane will come back up there in a second. So the results so far are from the weekend, of course. Shane, sorry, you dropped there for a second, but if you just want to finish off, you were talking about the players like the likes of Darragh Woods and Sean Ryan.
Yeah, as I say, technically there's not an awful lot of clubs left or gone out of it, but you sort of be looking at the likes of left of field sort of selections. I'd be thinking like Keane O'Dwyer has had a very, very good campaign for Clonakilty this year. Like, he would have been on the fringes of underage panels over last year. I will always think there's good enough hurlers in Tipperary. Like, they might be they mightn't be the most obvious guys, but Liam Cahill and Michael Beavens and other were in Semple Stadium last Sunday. Like, they will have been watching guys, and they will think, maybe. I suppose that's the great thing about Cahill and Beavens. Like, they've had such a link from under 2014 when they were minor manager through to 2018. And like, they would have seen every guy that came through, but also guys that maybe narrowly missed out of minor and under 20 squads, and they will know maybe, this guy maybe didn't have it at underage, but he's developed physically. Maybe as he's gone into adulthood, maybe he's more mature, maybe he's physically better to go better at senior level. So look, I think it's going to be fascinating to see what the makeup of that panel, his first panel, is going to be. And I suppose you're thinking with a county final, probably October the 23rd, you're probably thinking, and what collective training probably won't be till early December. Like, he's going to have a good chance to really put a good panel together.
Yeah, absolutely. So Willie Maher has been confirmed as the new manager of the Laois Hurlers. So Shane will hopefully drop back on there in a second. So the Ballingarry man, he was in charge of Tipperary to win the minor All-Ireland title in 2012. Took over the county under 21s. Also worked as a selector with the Waterford senior hurlers in 2014. managed the Coola team that I was involved in 2019 and 2020, winning county titles on both occasions, and is currently over Kilkenny club Bennett's Bridge, who have won 5 group games from 5, and they're in the league final this weekend. So I would see this as a very positive step for Laois. Willie certainly served his time at this stage, was in for the Tip senior manager job a couple of times, didn't quite happen in terms of getting the nod there. But, it's a great place for him to test himself. He's still a young enough man, early 40s. And, if this goes well, it could be another stepping stone. Now, that's me looking at it through a blue and gold prism. But, it's a real opportunity here because Laois probably took a little bit of a step back in the last year or so. So there's an opportunity to bring them on again.
Yeah, no, you would think it's probably, like, in fairness, we've had Willie on the show once or twice.
We're having a bit of trouble with Shane's line there at the moment. But it will be an awful lot of this will be about getting Laois back up to where they were. And I've watched them plenty of times in the last year or so, and there's definitely more to come from them. But hopefully we can get Shane back in here again. Yeah. We're having an awful lot of trouble with
I have a feeling what's going on. There's lads outside look like they're doing a bit of broadband work, so this could explain it, because I'd say it's probably more on my side than your side. So
yeah,
we're just breaking up again.
Even Laois last year probably didn't have the season they'd want.
We might have to leave it a while, will we?
Yeah, we might have to leave it. I'll just go through a little bit more.
So your voice keeps breaking up.
Yeah, okay. So obviously things not going great there from that side of things. But just looking at Laois last year, 6 defeats from 6 in the Leinster Championship. 5 defeats from 5. Westmeath staying up in their place. So they've a bit of ground to go, and I think the Joe McDonagh Cup would be a great place to try and kick on next year. Just a couple of things worth mentioning before. We might as well just plough on through it a small bit more. Clonoulty Rossmore getting a win over Thurles Sarsfields. Brilliant victory. If you want to get your comments in, please do. But a brilliant win for Clonoulty against Thurles, 118 to 116. And to do this, obviously, in light of what happened with Dylan Quirk this year, and knowing that Timmy Hammersley is up with Ballyboden first year there. I watched him play against Coola at the weekend. Conor Hammersley is away in America. Now, it was a controversial injury time penalty goal for that Stephen Ferncombe netted in. But some of the players that really impressed me in that game, Enda Heffernan, Mikey Ryan, Kieran Quirk, Ronan Heffernan, Jack Ryan, all very good. Cathal Burke, though, stood out a mile, 5 points. And this is a guy who obviously did his cruciate not so long ago. So that was very impressive. SARS, without Ronan Maher being able to start, he came on the last few minutes in the forward line. Obviously, not too much ball came his way, and probably, when he's been out for a while, it's a big ask to try and come in and make a huge impact there. Paddy Creedon got a nice goal for SARS 20 seconds into the second half, and they went 4 points clear by the 35th minute, but never got going again after that, and Clonoulty Rossmore saw them out. And I wonder, in terms of the remainder of the season, will they find themselves going on this sort of brilliant run and, sort of inspired or whatever to go on and kick on for the rest of the season? Shane, we're just talking about Clonoulty Rossmore and, how far can they go this year? Yeah, not entirely sure Shane is going to be able to continue the show there. So, yeah, we'll just leave it in terms of just with Shane there. So then the other game that happened at the weekend, JK Brackens beating Nina Aerogue 317 to 119. Again, just the way JK Brackens outlasted Nina was sensational. Shane Burke with 2-2. Andrew Ormond, I thought, was absolutely brilliant the way he set up that last goal as well, and easily could have tried to pop the ball over the bar, but instead did a nice stick pass across to Shane Burke, and he buried it into the back of the net, scored 2-2 overall. With Nina, again, just finding a way to not get through. They were 7 points up in the second half. Now, it's not necessarily that they were hurling unbelievably well to be 7 points ahead, but you really let that fall away in the last 15 minutes of the game. Of course, they'd love to have had Barry Heffernan, but he did his cruciate a while back. Mikey Heffernan, then he had a free from the 21 when they were 2 points behind, deep into injury time. But instead of going for the goal, he knocked it over the bar, hoping to get another opportunity for Nina. And obviously there was enough time. He would have surely asked the referee. But of course, it was the score went the other way with J.K. Brackens getting the goal instead. So we'll give it one last chance there, Shane. Are you able to hear me? And
yeah, it seems a little better. So hopefully, whatever was being done outside, hopefully it's been finished up. So yeah, we seem to be going a little better. So yeah, just before we go back to the club, just finish on Willie Maher. I suppose, look, you'd probably feel it's probably from his point of view, it's long overdue. Like he's been looking probably to get a big. I suppose he's been 2010 when he was in McKen Hogan at under 21 level and minor All Ireland winner in with Waterford, back with Tip, underage. Are we gone again? We are.
No, I can hear you. Yeah. Okay.
I think we'll.
Okay, so we'll have to leave it with Shane from there. But just even the quarterfinal draw coming up Saturday 24th, it's Drummond Inch against Lockmore Castellani at 4 o'clock. Then after that, Killerwan McDonough's against Toomevara. Sunday the 25th, Upperchurch Drumban are against J.K. Brackens at 2 o'clock. And Killadangan against Clonoulty Rossmore at 3:45. So Killadangan have been quite impressive. They'd be the team that I would be seeing as probably the slight favourites at this stage. Maybe you could make a case for any one of these teams, really. So when I say Killadangan, I'm not saying it by all that much, just that when I've seen them, especially in the last quarter against, well, I suppose the second half, really, against J.K. Brackens, they just look like a team that are just very convincing with the ball, and I think there's more to come from the likes of Willie Connors and Billy Seymour. Drummond Inch have also been very good. You can never rule out Lockmore, and look, just don't know what's going to happen with Clonoulty this year. Certainly, I think everyone in the county is going to be behind them, so long as your club isn't up against them. The Premier Intermediate preliminary quarterfinals were on over the weekend as well. Silvermines beat Carrick Swan after extra time, 226 to 225, and Burgess beat Clonakilty 217 to 117. In the intermediate Group 2 playoff, Burrs-Kane beat Knockavilla 24 points to 312. So there's quarterfinals on this weekend in the football. Clonmel are up against Arravale Rovers, J.K. Brackens against Upperchurch, Lockmore against Kilsheal and Kilcash. And then on Sunday, Moyle Rovers are against Ardfinnan. So plenty of games coming there. I think we're just going to leave it there because obviously the sound or the connection with Shane isn't working out too good. But look, we'll be back again next week doing plenty more of it.